Okay, well this is the part of the quarter where some students start to have a little trouble because it's easy to get mixed up with multiplication of integers and addition of integers. You got to remember these rules here. Not just memorize the rules, but you got to know why they're true. You should be able to explain these to somebody why the rules are true, except maybe this one, because perhaps your teacher hasn't talked about this yet, but it's coming up very, very soon. When you add two positive numbers, it's always positive. When you multiply two positive numbers, it's always positive. Remember what I said, addition is harder than multiplication because when you add numbers with different signs, it depends on which is bigger. But when you multiply numbers with different signs, it's always negative, right? When you add two negatives together, it's always negative. That's like when you keep losing money or when you keep moving to the left on the number line, you keep getting more and more negative. But when you multiply two negatives, it's positive. So make sure you keep these rules straight. Okay, so why don't you try this? Why don't you hit the pause button and see if you can do these problems right here. Okay, here we go. On this first one, you're multiplying negative 14 times 5. You're going to get a negative number, negative 60. When you add negative 14 plus 5, since the bigger one's negative, you get negative 9. When you add negative 14 plus negative 5, it becomes more negative, right? On the next ones, what is negative 14 times negative 5? When you multiply two negatives, it's positive. In this case, positive 60. How about adding negative 14x plus negative 15 plus negative 5? Those are not like terms. You got to leave it as negative 14x plus negative 5. These are like terms. What is negative 14x plus negative 5? It's negative 19x. That's right. Okay, let's continue here. So we're going to work some problems here. It's going to be focusing on simplifying, but it's good practice on keeping straight adding integers versus multiplying them. We follow the order of operations. 5 plus negative 3 is 2. So it's 4 times 2, which is negative 8, right? That's your answer. This one, you'd work inside the parentheses. Negative 2 plus 7 is 5, so it becomes negative 3 plus negative 4 times 5. You do the multiplication next. Negative times a positive is negative. Keep it straight. You gotta keep these rules straight. And then when you add two negatives, it becomes more negative. The answer is negative 23. Okay, let's do a couple more, then I'll give you some to practice. How about that? We work inside the parentheses here. We'll do this operation and this operation, okay? So the negative 2 sits out there. This becomes a negative 9. This becomes a 3. Now what do? When we multiply these three numbers, let's multiply the two negatives together and get 18. And then multiply by 3, you get 54. You see how it works? On this one, how would you do this one? Let's see. I'm going to do the multiplications first. Is it okay to multiply the negative 7 times negative 2 before you multiply these two? Yeah. You can multiply whichever two you want. Negative 7 times 2 is 14, so you get 3 times 14 plus negative 18. And then 3 times 14 is 42, I believe. And when you add a positive and a negative, it doesn't depend on which is bigger. The bigger one's positive. So when you subtract 42 minus 18, you get 24, and the answer is positive 24. That's right. Okay, let's do two more here. And then I'll give you some to try. These problems get more and more complicated. It's really important that you work hard on the homework here. This is really important for the rest of the quarter. Let's see. Well, if you were to simplify this, you work inside the parentheses. You get negative 12 plus 8, which is negative 4, right? Now, let's read it out loud. We get negative 2 times the quantity of negative 4 plus negative 3 times negative 4. Inside those square parentheses, wouldn't you do the multiplication next, right? So negative 3 times negative 4 is 12. So write the whole problem down in each step. So you get negative 2 times the quantity of negative 4 plus 12. That becomes an 8 inside the parentheses. Final answer, negative 16. Okay, let's do one more. Here we work inside the innermost parentheses. There's not going to be a negative 3 inside there. We write the whole problem down carefully. So negative 11 plus 8 becomes negative 3. Everything else is exactly what we had. Then you look inside these parentheses here. You get negative 4 plus 2 times negative 3. The next operation would be the multiplication, wouldn't it? That gives you negative 6. So write the whole problem down. Negative 3 times the quantity negative 4 plus 3 times this quantity. What do you get inside of these parentheses when you do the operation? You get a negative 10, right? So it becomes negative 3 times the quantity negative 4 plus 3 times negative 10. Almost done. Gets easier, doesn't it? Inside these curly parentheses, you see negative 4 plus 3 times negative 10. We do the multiplication. Now this is where you got to be careful. You're multiplying. Say it out loud. 3 times negative 10. That's negative 30. So then we add inside the parentheses. Negative plus negative is more negative. Final answer. What is negative 3 times negative 34? It's positive. I get 102. Okay. So here we go. Go ahead, hit the pause button. Work these out. It might take a while. Work these out on your own piece of paper, and we'll go over these in just a minute. Okay, let's go over these. Now let me give you a little bit of advice on these. These problems get messy. It's important to slow down. Don't be in too big a hurry. It doesn't take that long to write these each step down. Make sure you include the steps. Another piece of advice would be to read it back. Some people, if you can hear if you can read it back correctly, that means you know what the problem is saying. And sometimes when you read it back, when you hear it, it helps your understanding of what it means. So for this first one, you read it back, it's negative 4 times 5 plus 3 times the quantity of 16 plus negative 23. Follow the order of operations, which would be work inside these parentheses here. It'd be okay to do this operation too if you want on the same step. That's okay. Negative 4 times 5. Negative times positive is negative, right? You get negative 20. Here you write the whole problem down. 16 plus negative 23, you're adding a positive and a negative. It depends on which is bigger. The bigger one's negative, so when you subtract and you give it the sign of the 23, you should have got a negative 7 here inside these parentheses. Now let's read it back. Negative 20 plus negative 3 times negative 7. When you multiply negative 3 times negative 7, you should get positive 21. Final answer is 1. Did you get it? Good. Good job. All right, on this next one, we would work inside the parentheses, right? We're going to do the additions inside the parentheses first. Write the whole problem down. It's negative 3 times negative 7 plus negative 4 times, whoops, negative 11 plus 7. Hey, that's not negative 3, is it? Isn't that negative 4? So I made a mistake. Happens. Definitely happens. So when you, to sort of finish this problem, then what do? This first one becomes 21. What does the second one become? 16, right? Because negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. So what's your final answer? 37. Teachers make mistakes sometimes. There you go. All right. How about these last two? Work inside the parentheses. Let's read it back. Negative 3 plus 2 times the quantity of negative 4 plus negative 5 times the quantity of negative 2 plus 7. Inside the innermost parentheses, right? That becomes a 5. Write the whole problem down. Negative 3 plus 2 times the quantity negative 4 plus negative 5 times 5. You look inside these square parentheses and you get negative 4 plus negative 5 times 5. Let's do the multiplication, right? So that becomes a negative 25, right? Look inside the parentheses there, you got negative 4 plus negative 25, which is negative 29. So write the whole problem down. Don't forget to write everything down. You got negative 3 plus 2 times negative 29. I believe that's negative 3 plus, oops, I made another mistake. Negative what? Negative 58, right? So what should the answer be? It's not 55. What should it be? It should be negative 61. That's what I get. Negative 61. Okay. Maybe I make those mistakes on purpose. Maybe it's just to make you feel good. You know that you're not the only one that makes mistakes. Maybe that's what I'm doing. All right, let's read this whole problem out. Negative 2 times the quantity of negative 2 plus negative 2 times the quantity of negative 2 plus negative 2. Okay, when you do the inside the innermost parentheses, negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4, right? And then inside those square parentheses, you see negative 2 plus negative 2 times negative 4. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8, right? So then you get negative 2 plus negative 2 times 8. So that becomes a 6. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. Looks like I gotta go feed my cat now. So I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.